Question number 4, Joan McAlpine.
Thank you. To ask the First Minister what recent discussions have been held between the Scottish Government and the Scotland Office regarding opportunities for future intergovernmental cooperation and the new UK ministerial appointments.
First Minister.
Well, there's regular contact between the Scottish Government and the UK Government, including the Scotland Office, to ensure that day-to-day business continues after the general election. We stand ready to engage actively with the UK Government in order to protect our interests in Europe, and we will continue to insist that the devolved administrations are fully involved in the development of the UK's negotiating position.
Joan McAlpine.
I thank the First Minister for that answer. Would the First Minister agree that the correct way to ensure Scotland is represented in Brexit negotiations is for the democratically elected Scottish Government to join the talks, not unelected peers defeated at the ballot box?
First Minister.
Yeah, well, I think we've seen democracy Tory style in full action this week. I mean, what I'm about to say here is not personal in any way against the individual concerned, but isn't it absolutely outrageous that we have a candidate defeated at the ballot box, fairly and squarely in an election, and then a matter of days later, the wishes of the people of Perth and North Perthshire are completely disregarded. This failed candidate is put into the House of Lords and installed as a minister in the Scotland Office, elected by absolutely nobody anywhere in Scotland. It is an absolute abomination and shows what contempt the Tories have for democracy. The way to involve Scotland in these Brexit talks is to do what Ruth Davidson used to call for before she was told the error of her ways by her bosses at Westminster, is have the democratically elected Scottish Government at the negotiating table. When is Ruth Davidson going to start arguing for that again? Or is that something she's just been told she's not allowed to say anymore because it doesn't suit her bosses in Westminster?
Lewis MacDonald.
Thank you very much. The First Minister will recognise the important role of this Parliament in scrutinising intergovernmental cooperation, not least in this field. Can she therefore tell us today what actual proposals her government has put or will put to the UK Government in relation to the negotiation of Article 50, a process which has already begun?
First Minister.
Well, Lewis MacDonald, of course, will be well aware of Scotland's place in Europe, the substantial document that we published in December of last year, setting out in some detail how and why we think the UK should stay within the single market. If that doesn't happen, how and why we think Scotland should be able to stay within the single market, and setting out in detail across a range of different issues the powers that we think should lie with this Parliament in order to protect our interests. We will also continue, as we have been doing, to make specific proposals to the UK Government on a whole range of issues, like the one I was talking about earlier on, the constraints of getting rid of freedom of movement to our businesses and accessing skills, through to the impact on our agriculture sector by taking away payments through the Common Agricultural Policy, through to the real fears many have about our fishing industry being sold out by the Tories. So we will continue to make all of these arguments. But do you know what? It would be, I think, better if we had two things: that this Parliament united to demand of the UK Government. First, that this Parliament will be properly consulted through the formal legislative consent process. And secondly, that this Scottish Government, democratically elected, has a seat at the negotiating table so that we can properly defend Scotland's interests. And I would challenge all parties across this chamber to get behind us in demanding both of those things.
Question number 5, Dean Lockhart.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the First Minister what action the Scottish Government is taking to improve small business confidence.
First Minister.
The foundations of Scotland's economy are strong. Figures last week showed the lowest unemployment rate on record, where we continue to be a top UK destination for inward investment. We're working to simplify regulation for small business, encourage innovation and entrepreneurship, and make it easier for businesses to find the finance they need to grow. We're also investing £10 million in the Local Economic Development Capital Grant Fund, which will support economic resilience and future growth across local communities, including in the members' region of Fife. And of course, we're delivering a highly competitive business rates package, including expanding the small business bonus scheme so that it lifts 100,000 properties out of business rates altogether.
Dean Lockhart.
I thank the First Minister for that response and for providing an update. We welcome the announcement earlier today of the creation of the South of Scotland Enterprise Agency, not least because it was our idea. However,